The next area I want to talk about is leadership development. This is a very newer area and it's very important. Not many companies have it, but the most important thing regarding leadership development is how you plan and how you establish what are the abilities and the attitudes that people need to have, need to possess, and need to be able to demonstrate for them to occupy leadership roles. And a leadership role is someone that is making strategic choices and that is influencing others within your organization. So how you do it? First thing first, you need to be able to teach them what it means to be a leader. And it's not the generic leader we want to be teaching here. It's regarding what does leadership means for your company. It may mean ownership, it may mean making tough calls, it may mean empowerment, it may mean a lot of characteristics, and you need to be able to define what are those characteristics. Some may say that yes, of course, they are super generic and every leader in the world should have the same, but that's not true. That depends a lot on the culture you want to define within your company. The second thing you need to be doing is to put them through experiential classes. And that means not only teach them the theory, but let them experiment, make simulations and make games where they are able to respond to certain stimulation in certain ways, so that they can start to modulate their behavior towards the abilities and the attitudes that you want to be having within a leader. The next thing are executive coaching and mentoring. They are different strategies. The mentoring process is having a person that is very trustworthy for the person that is being mentored, and that can tell them about their experiences. Like, for example, you have someone that's been working within finance for the past 20 years, and you want him to tell you how did he get to the position that he or she is working today. What did he have to do? What positions did he have to take? What experiences were good for them? All that experience sharing is going to help your leaders start making the right calls so that they don't make as many mistakes as the people that preceded them, and they can start getting the right experiences for getting to the right positions. The executive coaching is very similar in terms of the support, of the moral support that somebody is giving your leaders. But this executive coaching is more of a self-discovery path, so that you have someone that will be asking the right questions for you to answer them, so that they won't give you the insight. They won't tell you what did they do in this situation. They're going to be asking the right questions for you to make your own decisions and to discover your own path. It's very similar in terms of the supportive part of the growth, but it's very different on the approach of that support. The last thing that is very important is the 360 feedback. We have been into many organizations where the only feedback that is valuable is the bosses, like the guy that is your one-up leader, the person that decides your salary increases, or if you remain at a position or you're fired. But actually, organizations are starting to acknowledge that if the stimulations in a conductive way, if the only feedback that matters is the one from your boss, he's the only person you're going to be taking care of. And when you're working in an organization, he's not the only person that you're going to be working with. You also have peers, people that are in the same level and that might be doing a similar job to yours, and also people that are doing a very different job as yours, but that have a very similar level of responsibility. And more important than any of those, you also have people that are reporting to you, people that you should be taking care of, people that should be trusting you with their careers and their jobs, because you're going to be the boss. You're the one who's making the tough calls regarding their jobs. And if they don't feel comfortable with you and they don't feel satisfied with whatever job you're doing towards them, they're not going to be as productive and as trusty as if you were in a good relationship with them. So let's go very fast through which roles are very important for a 360 feedback. Just because we're saying the boss is not the most important, it doesn't mean that he is not important at all. And even it can be your boss and your one-up manager. That means your boss's boss. The second person that is the second group of persons that are going to be very important are your peers, but not random peers, peers that you actually work with. The next group are going to be your reportees. That's the people that are actually reporting to you. And we have also two other important groups. Customers and suppliers. And it doesn't only mean the people from whom you're buying stuff, but the person that are actually providing information and the persons that are getting information from you. For example, if you're responsible for recruiting, who would be your customer? Your customer would be the areas that are requiring people to be hired. So if you're super good and your boss loves you and your scholar loves you and everybody else loves you, but you're not actually giving a good service to the people that are actually requesting or requiring the people, your customer input, it's not gonna be as good. And that information is very valuable for organizations because your boss may see that you're working super hard, but if you're not actually delivering results for the person that is requiring those results, you're not doing a great job. Now, it's very important to consider that leadership roles are not only the formal leadership roles. There are also some informal leadership roles, and that's very important to acknowledge. And that's why being in contact, being in touch with what's happening in the organization is very important. Informal leadership roles are those who motivate or demotivate. If you have, for example, a union representative, he may be another operator. He doesn't need to have a managerial position. But if he's super displeased with how you're managing the organization, he can be an influencer towards a strike. And that would be very bad for your organization. So leadership roles are those that are making strategic choices, and if they are mature enough, if they have all the abilities and they have all the skills and they have all the attitudes towards being better leaders, your results as a business, and I mean how much you produce, how much you sell, how much your market value rises, is going to be around 65% better. So it's not only a matter of having more happier people. It's also about having better results. The happier your people are, the more they're going to be working and the more they're going to be wanting to deliver the business results. The last area we're going to be talking today is recruitment. Recruitment. You don't pronounce the I. Okay? So recruitment is responsible for three things. First thing is staffing, the second one is workforce planning, and the third one is productivity. What is staffing? Staffing is vacancies. How many positions you have open, how many positions you have to fulfill. That's pretty straightforward. It's how many houses you have, how many puppies you can place in those houses. You cannot have any empty houses, and you cannot have any lonely puppies that don't own a house. The house will be called a job position, okay? And the puppies will be called employees. Now, when we're talking about workforce planning, it's not only regarding the houses you had and how many puppies you're going to be putting into those houses, but also if they are the right puppies and if they have the potential to grow working with the organizational and the leadership development areas, or if they don't, how are you going to be fulfilling those positions? Workforce planning has to consider both all the ways in, like for example, if you're hiring scholars and then you're hiring them as full-time employees, or if you're going to recruit directly supervising positions or administrative assistant positions or any type of entry-level positions. But you also need to consider all the outs, like for example, if people die, if people retire, or if people quit, or if you fire people. Okay? And last but not least, the recruitment area needs to be very conscious on the productivity side. What's the productivity? Productivity means efficiency, means doing more with less resources. In terms of recruitment and in terms of people, means producing more or selling more by having less people. It's measured by how many pieces you produce or you sell, depending on the range of your business, and how much people do you actually take to produce that. There's a fine line between having a lot of production with very little people and killing that person in the process because he has just too much workload. So it's the responsibility of this person to be able to balance those needs out. Yes, of course, we want to produce more with less people, but we don't want to kill that one person in the process.